me a test run really quick?
CoSpaces, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, good, all right. Give it about 5 minutes.
Okay.
You know how to switch it? To present? Yeah, you know how to do that? They show you? Hey, Eugene, how do we project? Is that the word there?
Merge cube for the
Hey Nicholas, thanks for joining us. We're gonna get started, guys, in about 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Standing room's fine.
Right,
How are you,
gotcha.
sir?
I'm good. How are you?
This is just kind of, this particular session is just like how to set up CoSpaces, like the basics. Yeah, come on over. We can make you one.
Hey, Nicholas, can you hear the audio okay while you're watching? Awesome, thank you.
Can I go ahead and start?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Got a good crowd.
Hey guys, my name is Faith Plunkett. For the last 5 years, I taught Entertainment Technology Academy, which is computer science and video game design, in an elementary classroom. And this summer I've moved to a job as a tech coach. So I fell in love with CoSpaces last year at ISTE. One of my goals was to get my students not just consuming content, but creating content as well. So I'm going to walk you through CoSpaces and show you how to set things up, how to do the very basics on the CoSpaces. So hopefully you'll get excited about it and you'll be able to take this back to your classroom. So how many of you are familiar with CoSpaces? Has anybody used it before? A little bit? So CoSpaces, when you log into the website, you have several different options. You have your gallery, which is where public projects are. You have classes where you can set up your own classes for your students. And then you have your spaces, and your spaces is the digital content that you're creating to become AR or VR. So, to set up my classes, I can just click on my classes, create a class. I'm going to name this Plunkett Class 1. And my students can log in and enter the code to join the class, or I can add my students manually. I've had to add my students manually due to privacy policies for our specific students. I can also search for a student. When I have my class, I can design assignments for them. So I can click on create an assignment, and it's just like a Google Classroom where I can give them an assignment title, and I can add instructions so that when they log in, they'll see the assignments, which is really cool. So I'm going to show you how to create a space. So once I log in, how many of you are familiar with Scratch? So it's very similar to Scratch where I click on create a space, and I have essentially a blank project. environment. So here's my environment choices. I can double click right here, and I have all of these. I can also upload my own 360-degree photo, which is awesome. So let's just say I want to create a Christmas scene. So here's my background, and as you can see, it's a full 360-degree environment, which is really awesome. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start importing objects and adding objects to finish creating the scene. So down here on the library, if you're familiar with CoSpaces, you know that there were all kinds of different objects you can choose from. Now everything's in categories. This is a new feature, which makes things a whole lot easier to find. So I have my animals, I have different housing options, I have characters, nature, transportation items, all kinds of different items that I want to add. I can also search for an item. So let's just say I want to add a Christmas tree because, like I said, this is a Christmas project that I want to add. So here's my Christmas tree, and I'm dragging and dropping it into my environment. And as you can see, it's still 360 degrees. I can still move all the way around the object. I can make my object bigger or smaller. I can drop it on the ground using different features like this. I'm going to make my Christmas tree a little smaller so I can see it in one screen. So here's my Christmas tree, and you may be like, well, what can I do with the Christmas tree? Well, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to program it to do different things. So when I add my object, the first thing I have to do is I have to make sure that I turn this feature on right here so that I can program it. And you also want to make sure that you name your object. So I have my objects here, and now I'm going to go to code. Here's what I love about this. I taught at the elementary level, and it was hard for me to find things for my students that were beyond code.org. So this does it. I can use the JavaScript, or I can do the code blocks, which is awesome. So there's the differentiation levels, which I love. So let's just say I want to go to code blocks. So when I click the play button, one simple thing I can do, is I can make the Christmas tree say, Merry Christmas. I'm going to do that for 10 seconds. I can change my time. If you put it at 2 seconds, when you enter your virtual reality environment, sometimes you might not make it over to see it when it first happens. When I was playing around with it earlier, I was having trouble doing that. So when I click on play, I have made my tree say Merry Christmas. And I can still spin all the way around. There's my Christmas tree. I can add cars that move. I can add people. I can have a whole Christmas scene right here. So then I can take it one step further. I can share it and open it up on the iPad. And this is kind of a new feature. So once I open it up on the iPad, and this is not my project, this is a different one. I have 3 different options. I have the gyroscope option, I have the AR, which means I can add it to the surface, or I can add it to the merge cube. Or I can do virtual reality, so I can see my project inside virtual reality glasses and spin it around. So let's just say I want to do it on the merge cube. How many of you are familiar with merge cubes? Are you all familiar with merge cubes? So now there's the project, and like I said, it's not the project that's on the screen, but it's a project. So you can kind of spin it around and see students can hold their creations in their own hands. And I think it's powerful when they get to hold something in their hands that they created virtually. So there's that. There's also a gallery. So on the gallery, you can see all kinds of different projects that people have created. If you need some ideas, or if you want to remix the projects. If you remix the projects, it's kind of like the gallery on Scratch, where you go in and you kind of edit and you can see the code. So let's just open up this project right here. I can click right here on remix, and open it up. And I'd be able to edit the code, and I can also explore the environment. So let's just say I want a different outcome to this battle. I can click on the code, and I can add different things. So do you guys have any questions about the basics? Are you going to use CoSpaces next year? Yes. It's really awesome, especially with the new Merge Cube features, and more is going to be coming out. It's very exciting.
How much does it cost?
There's a free version, and then where'd you go? There is a paid version that includes more features, but the free version is great to get started. The cube, they're actually $1 at Walmart, the Merge Cubes, and they've been out of stock. So if you can't find them, there's all kinds of images online where you can create your own Merge Cubes. You can print them out and put them on a square. They're really awesome. And I think the Merge Cube people are here. So, they're awesome. You're welcome.
All our questions except
yeah, what she did you could do in a free version. The limitation of free version is the number of students you can have in your class. So it's $3.50.
I told him I could do it again.
And that gives you students get access to the entire library.
Because more people are coming in that missed the beginning.
They get access to all of the coding. We showed a lot.
Yeah, because like only one person out of the whole thing had even used it, so I was like, wait. Yeah.
sorry, the volume is so low.
Oh, there it is, right there on the floor. It's very loud. And I was telling you, like, after my eardrum on my mic 2 weeks ago, so I can't clear out of voice anyway, so I don't know how loud I'm talking.
I could hear you better than every other, but it's not it's just that it's
Yeah, it's very loud.
These are really expansive.
maybe this time this is really great opportunity rather than